I have two major subjects to cover here. Here's the first one. It's negative. Here's the second one. It's positive. Attitude plays a big major part in how our life works out. It's never that pleasant to talk about the negative, but we've got to talk about it because life is part negative. These attitude diseases are like weeds that grow in the garden. It's a normal part of life. Here's a good phrase to note. Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. And here's the next key. In my opinion, you must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it. Handle it. Now, I know some people teach the other way, and listen to them, and listen to me, and then make up your own mind, right? Don't be a follower. Be a student. But I say you've got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it, in my opinion. I know some people teach, just turn your head real quick and say, there's no weeds, just no weeds. They'll take your garden. So, you've got to handle the negative. Here's what part of it is. It's called the Great War between good and evil. Let me personally give you some tips on the negative aspects that really helped me and were so valuable for me. I think you'll appreciate these. Here's number one. Negative is normal. Boy, that was helpful for me. It wasn't weird to be negative. Negative is normal, meaning it's a part of the human experience and all of our experiences. All of us have the same experience, the negative side of life. So, negative is normal. Now, negative is not successful, right? But it is normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Here's number two. Negative is not to be ignored. Negative is very real. As soon as you plant a garden, the busy bugs and noxious weeds are out to take it all. We have two things going for us in our human experience. Here's one, opportunity. And here's number two, the threat to the opportunity. So we deal with both of these twin scenarios in life, opportunity and the threat. Now, the threat to opportunity we call the negative side of life. Number one, it's normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Number two, it's not to be ignored. I know some people teach differently, but listen to them and listen to me, and make up your own mind. I know some people teach, just turn your head real quick and say there's no age, there's no weeds. Hey, they'll take your garden, so you can't play silly mind games. You say, well, then how can you have a good garden? Well, you have to kill weeds. So here's number three. Negative is to be mastered or conquered. That's part of the life experience. This twin scenario of the life experience is unique, negative and positive. In fact, we could probably get into quite a philosophical discussion if we wanted to. Would there be positive without negative? Here's the best I've been able to come up with. It doesn't seem like it. That's about the best I can come up with. Here's what it seems like. It seems like, based on our finite awareness, since we're not infinite, we're finite, meaning creatures of the world for the moment at least, it seems like it takes both to make a unique human experience, both negative and positive. In fact, one suggests the other. Would there be life without death? It doesn't seem like it. What makes life valuable? Somebody once asked me if I had a good description of life, and I said, yes, I think I do. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Death seems to want to move in prematurely and get us. So, to have a good, long, flourishing life, what do you have to do? Push back, push back, push back, push back. Now, if you don't push it back, it pushes you back. There's a push-shove going on here, and it's this negative-positive stuff. Would there be light without darkness? It doesn't seem like it. One suggests the other. Would there be success without failure? Well, I don't think so. You wouldn't call it success. You'd have to call it something else. It's the twin scenario that makes life interesting, fascinating, and wondrous in its possibility, but also dangerous in part of the content. So, this is the best I've been able to come up with. Negative is normal. It's not to be ignored, but it is to be conquered and mastered. It is part of the experience. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to drink from both cups, negative and positive. That's the life experience, and hey, you wouldn't have it any other way. What if you went to listen to a symphony orchestra one evening, and the orchestra only played little happy high notes all evening? Just little happy high notes all evening. How much of that could you take? A whole evening of little happy high notes? No, that doesn't represent life. Don't you want to hear the crash of the cymbals, the music that will scare you to death, describing the tragedy as well as the triumph? Yes, that's part of the life experience. Somebody says, well, I've been taught to be all positive. Well, you'll be some kind of freak. Oh, they'll ship you off to la-la positive land. That's not a life experience. Come on, what if the minister only prayed happy prayers every Sunday? How much of that could you take? Happy, happy every Sunday. Happy, happy every Sunday. Happy? No, no. Who's going to pray angry prayers? Who's going to pray frustrated prayers? Who's going to weep in public for the lost children? Come on. Negative and positive. In fact, in one sweep of one sentence, ancient script says it best. There's a time to laugh, of course. And once you've learned to laugh, just keep on laughing. No, there's a time to cry. And you've got to be so sophisticated and well-educated that you don't laugh when it's time to cry. Come on. Another writer said, rejoice with those who rejoice. But that's not the end of it. It also says, weep with those who weep. You don't laugh when somebody's weeping. You see if you can't find and think of something to cry about when somebody's crying. You've got to drink from both cups. Negative is part of the life experience. But here's what pessimism tries to do. It tries to make you believe that it's only half empty. When pessimism comes to your mind, you've got to educate it because pessimism is stupid. Pessimism tries to get you to believe that it's only half empty. You have to say, pessimism, you've never been to school. You're too dumb and stupid to know. Of course it's half empty, but it's not only half empty, it's also half full. I'm asking you to be in charge. Be in charge of your own mind. Be in charge of your own destiny. Do battle with your enemy in the summertime. In the summertime, you have to learn to love like a mother and hate like a father. Give life like a mother, nourish and take life like a father. A father says to whatever threatens his family, take 2 or 3 more steps toward this family and threaten them, and you'll cease to exist. I'm the father. I kill. Do battle with your enemies. Now, it's also possible to love like a father and hate like a brother. I'm not saying it's impossible. Nothing is more dangerous than an angry mother. Love like a father, hate like a mother, give life like a mother, take life like a father, or arrange it however you want. The key is to nourish your values, nourish your family, nourish what's valuable to you, nourish your organization, nourish your distributors, and nourish your customers. Take care of your responsibilities, feed, and nourish, but also be prepared to do battle with your enemies. Take the sword to your enemies. Whatever threatens those values, take the sword to it. If it's worry, take the sword to it. If it's a threat, threaten back. You have to be like your bloodstream, which is a good illustration. Red corpuscles nourish like a mother, while white corpuscles fight and kill like a father. You have to do some negative thinking. You can't just think positively. Thank God for white corpuscles that think negatively all day. White corpuscles say, just show me some infection and I'll kill it. Whatever threatens this body and its future gets threatened. Whatever's about to kill this body gets killed. I'm asking you to take the sword to your enemies, whether they're on the outside or on the inside. Protect your family, protect your future, protect your values. Love, nourish, but also do battle with whatever is out there to do battle with you. Take some courage from those who have been through the battle. They've given you their stories on stage. They've been through it and know what it's all about. Take some courage from that, and in the summer, do battle. There wouldn't be positive without negative. It's part of the life scenario. Ancient scripture says it best. There's a time to laugh and a time to cry. You've got to become so sophisticated and well-educated that you don't laugh when it's time to cry. You've also got to learn to cry. How are you going to identify with others if you don't cry with them? The negative side is very important, so don't ignore it. You need to let it be a part of the scenario. In fact, you need to learn to master it. Negativity is not to be ignored. It's to be mastered. It makes us better than we are to wrestle with it. It makes us better than we are to acknowledge and fight tyranny that moves into vulnerable countries, ignorance that moves into your life, procrastination that robs you of your fortune, or poor health. That's the legacy of neglecting your health disciplines. You've got to do battle with the enemies, those outside of you as well as those within. Learn how to handle the negative. Negativity can actually be a powerful force for change. It plays a key role in the day that turns your life around. There are 4 stages to the day that turns your life around, and the first is disgust. Disgust is a negative emotion, but it can have a very positive motivating effect. Disgust says, "I've had it." What an important day that can be. The next stage in a life-changing day is decision. If you sat down today and made a list of changes you've decided to make, that list could furnish enough inspiration for the next 5 or 10 years. What an inspiring day, the day you bring yourself to decide to change your life. The third stage is desire, wanting that change badly enough. Sometimes desire waits for a trigger, waits for something to happen. It may be a movie, a seminar, a sermon, a book, a confrontation with an enemy, or a conversation with a friend who finally levels with you. Whatever the experience, it is so valuable. Here's my best advice. Welcome all experiences. You'll never know which one is going to turn your life around. Don't put up walls. The walls that keep out disappointment also keep out happiness. Take down the walls. Go for the experience and let it teach you. The last stage of a life-changing day is resolve. Resolve says, "I will." These are 2 of the most powerful words in the language. The best definition of resolve I've ever heard came from a junior high school student in Foster City, California. I was addressing her class one day, and we were discussing some keywords. I asked the kids, "Who can tell me what resolve means?" Some didn't know the answer, and some tried to guess. The last answer I got was the best. This girl about 2 rows back said, "I think I know, Mr. John. I think resolve means promising yourself you'll never give up." I said, "That's the best definition I've ever heard." She's probably giving her own seminar somewhere today. Promise yourself you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll go to seminars until you get a handle on what they're teaching. You'll practice until you develop the skills. Never give up until you've gotten what you want. Don't miss the chance to grow. Resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, and become what you want to be. You'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that price. It's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens, happens to us all. The key is what you do about it. It's not what happens. It's what you do about it. If you will start that process of change, do something different in the next 90 days than you did in the last 90 days. Pick up the books to read. Do something different like new health disciplines or improving your relationship with your family. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves, you'll see a transformation. We can change what we do. There are two phrases I'd like you to ponder for a moment. The first is that life and business are like the changing seasons. That's one of the best ways to illustrate life. It's like the seasons that change. Here's the second phrase. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Now, with those two key phrases in mind, let's turn to what I consider to be the four major lessons in life to learn. The first lesson. Learn how to handle the winters. Winters come regularly, right after autumn. Some are long, some are short, some are difficult, and some are easy, but they always come right after autumn. That is never going to change. There are all kinds of winters. The winter when you can't figure it out, the winter when everything seems to go haywire. One writer called it the winter of discontent. There are economic winters, social winters, and personal winters when your heart is smashed into 1,000 pieces. Wintertime brings disappointment, and disappointment is common to all of us. So learn how to handle the winters. You must learn how to handle the nights. They come right after days. You must learn how to handle difficulty. It always comes after opportunity. You must learn to handle recessions. They come right after expansions. That isn't going to change. The big question is, what do you do about winters? You can't get rid of January simply by tearing it off the calendar. But here is what you can do. You can get stronger, you can get wiser, and you can get better. Make a note of that trio of words. Stronger, wiser, better. The winters won't change, but you can. Before I understood this, I used to wish it were summer when it was winter. When things were difficult, I used to wish they were easy. I didn't know any better then. Mr. Schoaf gave me the answer from a part of his very unique philosophy when he said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom." The second major lesson, learn how to take advantage of the spring. Spring is opportunity, and spring always follows winter. What a great place for spring, right after winter. If you were going to put it somewhere, that would be the place to put it. God is a genius. Days follow nights, opportunity follows difficulty, expansion follows recession, and this all happens with regularity. You can count on it. However, the miracle of spring is no sign that things are going to look good in the fall. You must do something with the spring. In fact, everyone has to get good at one of two things: planting in the spring or begging in the fall. So, take advantage of the day. Take advantage of the opportunity and read every book you can get your hands on to learn how to take advantage of the spring. Get busy quickly on your springs, your opportunities. There are just a handful of springs that have been handed to each of us. Life is brief, even at its longest. Whatever you're going to do with your life, get at it. Don't just let the seasons pass by. The third major lesson, learn how to nourish and protect your crops. All summer. Sure enough, as soon as you've planted, the busy bugs and noxious weeds are out to take things over. And here's the next bit of truth. They will take it unless you prevent it. There are two key phrases to consider with the third major lesson. The first is, all good will be attacked. Don't press me for a reason. I was not in on some of the early decisions, so I don't know why. I just know that it's true. Let reality be your best beginning. Every garden will be invaded. The second phrase is, all values must be defended. Social values, political values, friendship values, business values, all must be defended. Every garden must be tended all summer. If you don't develop this skill, you'll never wind up with anything of value. The fourth major lesson, learn how to reap in the fall without complaint. Take full responsibility for what happens to you. One of the highest forms of human maturity is accepting full responsibility. Learn how to reap in the fall without apology if you have done well, and without complaint if you have not. That's being mature. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm saying it's the best way to be. The seasons don't work for you or against you. They just are what they are. They are guaranteed to come every year, bringing both the positive and the negative. So it's up to you to remember the 4 major lessons in life, prepare for them, and make the most of everything they offer. Now we've got 2 things working. What you become helps you to achieve, and what you achieve helps you to become. The more you become, the more you can achieve, and the more you achieve, the more you can become. Who knows which affects the other the most? So now, just start with a few sentences. We won't have time for you to take a lot of time, but just start. Start with a few sentences. Your concept of the person you think you must become to achieve what you want. This is a time for a little truth here. Maybe you need to become much wiser than you are at the moment. You need to become stronger. You need to have better health. Maybe you need a little coaching to really become the person you want to become. I'm going to have some coaching. Physical coaching, spiritual coaching, developing skills coaching. To be the influence you want to be, you've got to build an incredible reputation. One of the most mysterious and unique phrases that Jesus ever used. Here's what he said. I stand at the door and knock. And if you open the door, would you probably invite him in? This extraordinary person, you'd say, wow, yeah. And he said, if you invite me, I'll come in, sit down, and talk things over. For you to be that kind of attractive person, that if you knocked on the door of opportunity and it opened and you stood there, would you be the kind of person that opportunity would say, come right in, sit down, and let's talk about the future? What kind of person must you become?